Each year it is our privilege to host this event and give a highlight of all the great things that go on in Eden Prairie, both from the chamber business perspective, the cities and schools as well, and the efforts of our community. So jumping in on the chamber side today, our mission is to be the catalyst for a vibrant business community, and we do this in a number of different ways that we'll highlight in a little bit. But one of the things we always like to do is talk about the partnerships that we have, the opportunities and the initiatives that we try and put together. So we have a great working relationship with the city and the school district. You've probably seen numerous rankings of Eden Prairie, whether it's the Money Magazine ranking, best places to retire, all the different accolades that our community receives. And it's the great work of 3 different entities, and it's the city and the residents of this community, it's the school district and their staff and the students, and it's the business community that really work hand in hand to make Eden Prairie just a great place to be. We, as the chamber, continue to look for additional partnerships opportunities. We've always had a standing relationship with beer, and no, we're not talking about the kind you drink, but beer stands for the Bloomington, Edina, Eden Prairie, and Ridgefield Chambers. And we formalized our partnership this past year to provide quarterly programming. We are continuing to do that moving forward, and I'm pleased to say we are working on a beer with beer event later this year. Each year, the chamber does a survey of its chamber members to find out the issues that they are facing, and we look to report that both through our publications and at the State of the City address. Our first slide talks about net income. And so when we talk about net income numbers from 2013 to 2012, there's a positive trend here. And compared to last year's numbers, we have 6% more businesses that are reporting in that up over 10% category. So overall trends on net income from our businesses is that positive trend, seeing more dollars coming in, more positive net income. In 2013, talking about the number of employees from our businesses, it's very similar to last year, but a slight move to positive news with about 5% higher in the grow categories than in previous years. When we talk about sales, 2014, so projections moving forward, again, this is similar to last year. A couple interesting notes, though. No one in our survey replied that they expect to see a decline, and we also saw companies that increased their projections to the growth category versus staying about even. When we talk about employment numbers for 2014, much of the same. Businesses are leaning to be more optimistic in hiring with an 8% increase in those that are saying that they will be hiring in 2014 compared to last year. Big question for our businesses, are you able to find quality employees for job openings? A bit scattered. So when we look at this, almost 50% are able to find quality employees without issues. However, about 30% did reflect that they are seeing issues. Top items from the comments in this question were problems finding people with financial and accounting skills, skilled plant labor and skilled trades, plus issues in employees having strong work ethic and reliability. The number one issue that is impacting our business from the choices below, this question, we see some different things that have happened over last year. Number one issue is government regulations. And now number 2 is educated workforce. So that moved up from being number 4. The Chamber is in the early stages of additional initiatives that are designed to link businesses with students. We're having meetings with the school district and the high school on ways we can make some better connection points and provide some opportunities for students to learn about future work skills, career moves, and other opportunities, as well as linking our businesses in a more efficient way to future employees. The other item to note on this is the issues that, from a healthcare perspective, that cost has gone up as well. So the number of respondents that recognize healthcare as one of their major impacts increased is number 3, and taxes overall went down. not necessarily in rates, but in priorities for businesses that responded. Moving on. Do you feel the economy is on the right track? Positive news here too in reflection compared to previous years. 11% increase in the number that people feel that the economy is on the right track. However, the one thing that has stayed almost static is the uncertainty. We have about 33% of our respondents who are still feel uncertain about the future of the economy. Does your business plan to expand its facilities the next 3 years? This fairly similar to last year, slightly better in the optimism. So we do see that businesses are saying more over last year that they will be expanding. And we like to ask, items that people like most about Eden Prairie, all very positive. Some of the key things that we hear about, the partnerships between the business, government, schools, nonprofits. There's a true link in our community of all the groups working together, and I think that is called out in a number of different ways, and I know my partners here will be talking about their efforts. It's a great business climate, wonderful place to raise a family. We hear that a lot, not only from residents, but from the people that work in the community as well. On to some other items that people commented. Again, great things to say. We do have a couple areas for improvement to cooperate in all ways to help clients and customers locate businesses, including more liberal signage regulations, was one comment we received from our businesses. And then a comment on the highly congested traffic around Eden Prairie Center. I know Nancy Litwin's here, and sometimes that's a good thing because it is popular, but we would like to see, obviously, better traffic flows as well. Onto chamber highlights, the organization itself continues to grow. We are a little over 525 members. In that membership pool, our members employ over 30,000 area employees. Our programs, on a monthly basis, we average over 500 attendants. We are now we're the largest single city metro area chamber of commerce. We rank 8th overall in the Twin Cities for size of organization. And our key focus areas are networking and programs, public policy, community building, and leadership. We do try to add into all of our programs networking opportunities. So as you hear today, we have a great cross-section from our community. We hope that you are meeting new people. If not, please go out of your way to meet someone new today, exchange business cards, all those good things that come with getting people together. Besides programming, we do put on some trade shows. We'll highlight our home and garden show here in a minute. And then our two biggest events, the golf tournament and our annual gala. Our committees, we utilize our membership and their expertise to help us achieve our goals and objectives. We have over 100 volunteers that provide input into our organization each year through our committee structure. The annual Home Landscape and Garden Expo is one of the ways that the chamber is able to pull businesses together as well as put on a community event. This year's event is Saturday, March 15th at Grace Church. Last year's event, we brought in over 2,000 attendees. The event is free parking, free admission, free door prizes, free seminar. So if you have not checked it out, please do so. We are very close to being sold out on exhibitor tables. I think we're down to maybe a half a dozen. So if your business is interested in exhibiting, you need to get in sooner rather than later. We mentioned the international trips. It's a great way to bring people together from our community and participate to learn more about other cultures, businesses in other countries, as well as sightseeing. We have done 10 different trips now, brought together, I think, a little over 140 people to go on trips. And if you have not participated, again, we have brochures at our registration table. Chamber Awards, we like to recognize excellence in our community as well as within our membership base. We do a number of different awards, our Small Business of the Year, we do our Volunteer of the Year, we recognize a Woman of Business with our Athena Award, Education Awards, and then we also provide a number of different scholarships, and we've given out over $75,000 in scholarships since we started our scholarship program. top speakers, we look at a number of different things. This past year, we put together a business conference. We partnered with the City of Eden Prairie to host that right here. We had 9 different breakout sessions and great turnout for that. We also provided key information on the Affordable Care Act. You continue to hear more about that. We did a program last year to help businesses understand that impact and the opportunities that go with it. A number of different meetings on Southwest LRT. I think Rick's going to talk a little bit about that as well. And then we do a number of different public policy programs with our local, state, and federal officials, give our members a chance to get a snapshot of what's going on, get their questions answered on issues that are pertinent to them. And then one of our newer programs we did last year was a program called Apps with Apps. So we highlighted apps on your smartphones and devices that businesses are now using with, of course, appetizers at the program. So another good turnout for that. We always highlight the chamber fun aspect because within our programs we know, I know our schools will probably talk about kids will probably learn better when they're having fun and engaged. Our members are kind of the same way. They enjoy our programs when they're having fun, meeting new people, and trying something different. So each year we trying to add that aspect into our programs as well as the business information and promotional aspects of programs. Our gala is one of our major events. This year's event is going to be October 25th at what was the Sofitel and is now the Sheraton Bloomington. So we hope you'll join us at that event as well. Eden Prairie saw a lot of new businesses coming to town. Our group got out and did a number of different ribbon cuttings. Our ambassadors, board of directors, and others participate in this and welcoming new businesses to our community. And then final slide for us, our partnerships, opportunities, and initiatives. We each year put on what we call our student membership program. We have 20 high school students that participate as chamber members with us each year. We have helped them in a number of different ways, including a new component to that is having our young professionals, emerging leaders group mentor them. So this is a group photo of that group. And then this year I mentioned just briefly that the chamber is doing more on the education initiatives. We have some groups that are meeting. I know Troy Knorr, who chairs our business development committee, and I just met at the high school to talk about better ways we can do some things with the schools. And we also have some subgroup meetings coming up with our board of directors on education initiatives. So you'll be hearing more about what businesses can do to be involved and provide great opportunities for students moving forward. And we'll be making some of those announcements throughout the year, so stay tuned for that.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Let me be the first to welcome you to Cold Soda. And school is closed today, in case anyone was wondering. The cold thing is really interesting. You know, I've been in this business 30 years, and I've never seen 3 days like this in such a short span of time. So whoever ordered that polar vortex, please cancel the order and send it back north. So, state of the district. I want to talk about the future. I do want to first mention that we really do enjoy a strong and vibrant relationship with the city and the chamber. So we want to thank them for that opportunity. We've worked with both very closely on a number of different activities, and we always know that they're there to support us. So thank you so much for that. So we have great kids. I think you all know that, and we have some wonderful outcomes. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about our academics, our arts, and our athletics. If you look at the Minnesota comprehensive scores that we hit, our kids average 14% higher on reading than the rest of the state. And that's all subgroups and service groups. So that's a huge advantage for our kids. In math, we're 10% higher than the state scores. And again, our demographic subgroups are higher than the state average, and we're also with the service groups. So our teachers do a wonderful job, and parents help to get those kids there. I had the opportunity to attend a breakfast it was November, and where we got to see these amazing high school students. We honored them, and this was the result. We have 5 perfect ACTs so far, 16 National Merit Scholarship, 21 National Merit Commended Scholars, 1 National Hispanic Recognition Program student, which means that there was a huge competition for that, and one also that was a National Achievement Outstanding Participant. We have one of the two AP scholars, which means they took the most courses and had the highest scores of anyone in the state. And we have 54 national AP scholars. There's no school that can match that, including our neighbors. So be proud of what your kids can do and what our staff has done for them. Our arts, I think if you've been to concerts, you know that our programs are just outstanding. Just some highlights. We know they're all good. Jazz was asked to play at the Minnesota Music Educators Convention. We had 4 students that auditioned and were able to go and play with a select group in Carnegie Hall. You know, I'm a music guy, have been all my years, but I've never been to Carnegie Hall, and I probably never will be. But those kids are absolutely amazing in what they can do with their instruments. Our Winter Drumline is a rather new organization, and I think they've probably came from the farthest in the shortest amount of time. They started 4 or 5 years ago, I believe, and in that time, they've risen to a level of competition that's at the world level, international level, and they are very, very competitive. And also, our wind ensemble, which is an outstanding group, traveled to China this last year. Football, sports, I think we all know that our football team has been just outstanding. Boys swim, girls lacrosse, we have good swimmers going on, and every year we are well represented throughout all of our athletics. There is one piece that I was surprised when I moved here, and I might surprise you as well. In a school as large as ours, kids want activities and want places to be. And we have just an amazing intramural program at the high school. So you can see, we've got 7 intramural sports that gives 18 different opportunities for kids to participate on a team. There's 200 to 300 kids every season participating in those, and 1,000 every year. They have basketball leagues, and I believe in many ways, I've heard that they became incredibly competitive and actually started playing each other, and then it kind of had to be stopped because it was kind of like high school league things. And so anyway, it's great for our kids to stay involved. So we're very happy and very appreciative that the community approved the tech referendum this last November. It does support all of our technology infrastructure, staff, equipment, classrooms through 2025. It's a 10-year initiative. Last year I stood here and talked about the iLearn initiative. We were just getting ready to start. We provided iPads to our middle school last January. 1,500 went out in the span of about 3 days. And then this fall, we went the next step and provided laptops to all of our senior high students. That program is just going gangbusters. If you talk to the kids, you talk to the teachers, look at some of the projects, and we'll have to get those on our website. But there are amazing things happening. One of the things that I heard about and saw that I think epitomizes what our kids are capable of is there was a girl in high school that wanted something to help her study chemistry, as I remember. So she wrote an app that helped her study. And it's a good enough app where she probably could turn around and sell it. But kids are so bright and have so much initiative. The whole idea of this iLearn is not only to provide up-to-date information and another tool for them to learn, but it also allows them to be very creative and find that spark, which moves them forward. So this last 2 months ago, we went to the next step, and our grades 4, 5, and 6 all have classroom carts of iPads. And they're not going home with kids yet, but they are there. And the plan is for next fall that we will have devices for K through 3 and early childhood. So by that time, we will be a fully digital district, one of the few in this state, and we should be very proud of that. Our staff is doing a wonderful job with it. Our technology department is doing a great job. Our curriculum, teaching and learning folks are working hard to get our curriculum to the point where it fits with the devices that we have. So I want to thank all of them. As you know, the other question on the levy failed in the fall. And we went out a year early, so we knew that we have another year. We knew that if it did not pass, we would be looking at a $4 million gap for this year, and we're working on that process right now. But our current levy does expire, and if it's not renewed, there will be a very large hole in the budget at the school. And somewhere between $6 and $8 million, in addition to other reductions. So we are working on a plan. It will not be the same question that comes out in the fall. The plan is for us is we want to get our current budget done, and then we'll start working on the referendum. So you'll be hearing more and more about that. That was the bad news. Good news, strategic plan. Last year we had a process where we had over 100 people involved in setting our strategic plan for the future. It set the course for us for 10 years. And it fits in with what we're doing with iLearn, what we're doing with all of our other programs. We want to focus on personalized learning for each student. If you notice at the bottom of the slide, inspiring each student every day. That is our mantra. That's what we do. It's not all children. It's each child. And we're designing programs that will meet the needs of each child and track each child in their development. Let them have a part in saying what's important to them and find that spark, find that creative spark for them. So we're going to continue to work on that, and you'll be seeing more about that in the near future. In April, we're going to have a presentation to our board that shows the work that we've done on the 6 items we've been working on this year. Before I close, I'd like to show you a short video that we created last summer. And I've been standing here for probably 10 minutes talking. This 2.5-minute video says more than I could ever say. I think it sums up how we feel about our kids, how the community feels about their kids, and what we want for them.
I'm good at this. I like doing this. This is fun. I like to come to school. I'm just learning how to read. I like my teacher and she likes me. My teacher is fun. I am happy here. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I am so ready.
So many great memories.
I like my friends. I like being with my friends.
I couldn't have done it without them.
This is my family. I can't believe I'm here.
This day came so fast.
I'm ready to move on.
This is cool.
It'll be hard to leave.
I love these people. I've loved this school.
My teachers challenged me. I've been waiting for this.
The mission of Eden Prairie Schools is to inspire each student to learn continuously so they are empowered to reach
personal fulfillment and contribute purposefully to
our ever-changing world.
We have great kids, we have great outcomes, and we have a great future. Thank you for allowing me and others to serve this community, and we'll try to keep our schools great. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I want to echo earlier what Pat had said, Kurt had said about the relationship, the great relationship between the city and the school. But also, so we see, several school board members here and, council members, Councilmember Case and Aho. But we also have a really good connection to our state and our county. We have our state representatives here, Representative Loon, Representative Seltzer. In our county, we have our county commissioner, Jan Callison here. So it just shows that Eden Prairie, kind of at all levels, city, school, county, and state, do have a really good relationship, and we really do communicate and work together. And hopefully, in my kind of run through of the different projects and initiatives at the city, that you'll see where that thread goes through all those different groups, including the businesses and the residents of the city. But as Pat mentioned also earlier, we do have some recognition that we receive on a pretty regular basis, be it Money Magazine, Best Place to Retire. So I wanted to start out with what I thought was a really neat recognition that we received for the first time this year, and that was Eden Prairie made the New York Times crossword puzzle. So if you guys take a close look there, 25 down, the question to 25 down is, what's a Minnesota city southwest of Minneapolis that is so named for its fertile soil? And the answer is Eden Prairie, 25 down. So I've heard a couple people mention that that's appeared in some other crosswords, but I always say that I know we've made it, and we've made the New York Times crossword. So that's always a pretty neat feather on our cap. Also, I think Carla in the Eden Prairie News did a good job of having a couple articles throughout the last 3 weeks from a Q&A with Kurt, myself, and Pat, talking about what the state of the city is and what's coming up. And the subheadline she used, at least from a city perspective, was that we're on even better financial ground than we were a year ago. And I think Pat echoed that too with some of those survey results that show more optimism and more development and more jobs in our community. So for us currently in Eden Prairie, 3.4% unemployment, which has consistently been lower than the state, lower than the national average, and continues to drop overall. Last year, we had a record amount of dollars for the city in development revenue, and you're going to see that with some of the commercial projects and residential projects and other projects. But the city brought in $4.1 million, our highest amount ever in development revenue. And the key for us is to do this in a manner that gives you a value for the taxes that you pay. So you, if you're a resident of business, it's more so for the resident, business taxes are a little bit different. The average valued home in Eden Prairie, so if you live in a home that's around $320,000, you live in the average valued home, you pay about $92 a month in all city services, and that would include 24-hour police and fire, everything that would be a service of the city in addition to any debt, any capital improvement. And we feel that that's a value in the sense of, if you look at 12 cities in the area, cities of similar size, Maple Grove, Woodbury, Bloomington, cities, suburbs such as ours, that number, that tax rate we have is 10th out of 12. So we think from a city tax perspective, we're doing a pretty good job, and we continue to maintain our AAA bond rating. The only number up there that I just added this morning, the -20, I think was the low temperature that we reached today. So I put that on this morning. Pat mentioned Southwest Light Rail Transit. There's a couple slides that are in here that were in here last year, and they were in here the year before, because they're projects that cross many different years, and they're going to take quite a while to build. So I think if this stays on track, you'll see this slide through 2018. And the only update that I would offer from the city perspective is that we're at a point where the cities, all the cities on the line in Hennepin County, have yet to see a set of plans where we would offer municipal consent. So that still has not occurred yet. The project is still not funded at the state level. So I think you've heard about the recent bonding bill where this project was not included, but it still has the support of the governor. and a hope that there could be a more reliable source of revenue to fund that. So that'll be a debate at the legislature. But from a city perspective, and Pat mentioned this, we've had hundreds of meetings with businesses and residents over the last 2 years on the station areas, the line itself, the location of the line, the impacts on businesses and residents, and we'll continue to do that. At least from our perspective, we think there's some elements of the project where we've been able to find some savings in Eden Prairie and avoid impacts such as at-grade crossings that could have an issue with traffic as well. Another, as we kind of move into development projects, if you saw the slide previously, it would have said United Health Group, and now it's Optum, because it really is becoming an Optum campus that you have seen and heard about up on Shady Oak Road and 212. And just next month, within the next month, the first of almost 6,000 new employees will move into this campus in Eden Prairie with almost 1.5 million square feet of office space on 70 acres. And it's a really great office development project in our community that's getting off the ground. And you'll also notice a lot of the transportation improvements that are occurring around that area that will not only help that business, but will help businesses in the entire Golden Triangle as well. So we're looking forward to that. In fact, we know Optum is spending quite a bit of time on the Affordable Health Care Act at the national level, and we might ask them to work on an even more difficult project after that, such as light rail. Maybe they could help us work our way through that. We always pride ourselves on being the city where you can find a really good place to eat. So I'm always asked, whether it's at Rotary meetings, Lions clubs, I know the council members get this, what new restaurant is there and what restaurant is going in. So I thought I would just quick give you a snapshot of the 5 or 6 new restaurants that have come in the last year. So we've always prided ourselves on that. But in addition to some of the restaurants and the UHG and some of the other development I'm going to talk about, there has been a lot of development occurring in the city. There's been multi-million-dollar investments in remodeling in a lot of places like J.C. Penney's at the mall, Stratasys, in the public sector, the Eden Prairie Central Middle School, the International School. There's just been a lot of development and activity throughout the city, in addition to the new restaurants that we have. And also residential. So moving into residential, we're going to have our, under construction right now, is the first apartment building in Eden Prairie in 10 years, almost 10 years. 2004 was the last time we had an apartment building. So Martin Blue, which is between Buca and the gas station close to 212 here in Mitchell Road, just down the road, is going to be 194 market rate apartment units. So we're really proud of that project coming in. And we're also seeing a lot of single family residential development as well. We saw approval of over almost 140 new single family homes in Eden Prairie, and the largest one, Reeder Ridge, is going to be 104 single family units on the river bluff just west of Eden Prairie Road. And there's some really neat features with kind of the street design and the lot design. So we like to call this area the kind of last 10%. We're getting to a point in Eden Prairie where almost all of our land is developed. So now you're going to see, different pockets of land, small areas of land where you're still going to see some single family homes and some other development. You'll hear a lot about more dense development maybe in certain business areas as well. But this is one of the big, large residential projects that we're seeing. And an interesting residential project you may have read about is this concept of a green neighborhood. And there is a parcel of land that was left over from rebuilding 212 that MnDOT owns near 212. And the concept there is a green neighborhood where not only on this parcel right here that you would have potentially 36 homes, that the homes themselves would have features in construction that are green in nature, and there would be kind of a green star score on the construction of the home, similar to an Energy Star score. But also, we're looking at a lot of different green features within the neighborhood itself, from pervious pavements to rain gardens to the use of solar power and an open space that would also have just a lot of different features that are green in and of themselves. Our goal is to really work to transfer this to a private developer that we're working with and allow the development to occur without any major city involvement or city subsidy. So right now, the developer is working through the Planning Commission and City Council to having a project that really doesn't exist yet in the state, which is an all-green single-family neighborhood. So speaking of green, just have a couple things I want to say about kind of green practices citywide. Our mayor and council have urged us and continue to urge us to think about sustainability and think about it in a way that can not only save money, but reduce our carbon footprint and make an example. So our city, as a city, we've gotten into the electric car business. So if you parked out front, you may have noticed our electric car charging station. That is also open to the public. We've had residents that have called and said, I have an electric car and you can charge it at City Hall at no cost. I think the cost is pretty low, but we see that as a positive. And our fleet, we're adding to electric vehicles as well. And we're also one of the first cities to put in LED lights out on our streets, on our street lights. We've used a lot of LED lights on city facilities, but just in the last year alone, we've put LED lights, retrofitted LED lights on almost 70 city street lights. The city owns almost 100, so the plan is to outfit all those with LED lights, and then we'll be talking to Excel and others to try to work with them on having LED lights throughout the city, which does save a lot of money in the long term on energy costs, and the price has really gone down to where you can afford putting them in. Another big project that's been discussed for a few years now is the expansion of the Aquatics Center at the community center, the Aquatics facility. There has been no change to the Aquatics part of the community center for almost 30 years. There's been a lot of excellent expansion that has occurred at the community center, but the Aquatics piece is the last one, and we've been working on that for well over a year. In the study that we commissioned had stated that there were several gaps in use for both lap swimming and recreational swimming. So we hope to this year move forward with that major expansion. And in a way, when I talked earlier about our financial position, that would not increase our debt and would not increase our taxes. We look at this as a capital improvement. We need to continue to invest in our community. This is one feature. We have noted that when we made an improvement to our community center in 2008, we quadrupled, the number of memberships that we had. And the concept here is, if this works well, our community center is very close to paying for itself, and it's not necessary that it does, but with this expansion, it would move even further ahead in the black. So we're looking forward to that. Staying with the Parks and Rec theme, if you guys have been to Round Lake at all, you were there for the 4th of July, you've been to any different events, we did quite a lot of improvements to that area. We improved with new play equipment. We have some adult exercise equipment there. We improved our trails, our shelter. You actually should now see, for the first time in a long time, people being able to swim in Round Lake. We're really proud of that as well. We introduced a splash pad, which is a very popular feature. So it's just, if you ever happen to be out there on a summer day, it's very busy and very popular. And additionally, we also really improved our skate park as well. So someone captured a photo of me this summer when I was out there. Before I cut my hair out there, I was on the skate park on the inaugural first day. So Miracle Field, staying into Parks and Rec, and I'm going to talk about some other initiatives, interesting ideas that the council's looking at, and we're hoping to fundraise for what is known as a Miracle Field in Flying Cloud Fields, which is a fully accessible ball field that, to get a perspective of what size that is, that entire field, accessible field, would fit into the infield of Target Field. And the council's approved a fundraising effort to bring that forward, and we know that there's been success in Minnetonka and others, but we think that there's definitely capacity here for such a field. And the interesting thing is, now that I think about this, Kurt mentioned the strategic planning process with the school, and I was appreciative of being a part of that, but it was a side conversation that I had with a school board member who was pursuing something like this on their own that kind of led to this discussion. Other than I was looking at the mission statement, I think about the 4 or 5 hours spent on what we or child or I means. You'd be amazed at how much discussion that takes. But this is a good project coming forward. Also in trails and parks, we consider very important in Eden Prairie, and a lot of the surveys that we get from our city and a lot of the feedback we get is what a great trail and park system you have. So just this last year with Chanhassen, you can see in that photo that right standing there between Mayor Furlong and Mayor Tara Lukens in Eden Prairie is a Chanhassen-Eden Prairie border where we connected the 3-mile loop around Marsh Lake. So that was a great project between the two communities to continue to enhance that trail network. And as we move into some other initiatives, public art. So if you're a Rotary member, and I see many of you out there, the Noon or the Morning Club, the Rotary clubs worked with the city to bring the soaring bird sculpture to the front of the community center, and there was some sweat equity involved and some great work by Mr. Gabbard to bring that soaring bird to the city. And we're also looking for more public art and further public art efforts as we move forward. In addition to commitments toward healthy living and health and wellness. So the mayor really made a point, and the council as well, in 2013 to really get moving on some health and wellness initiatives. So there was a committee that was formed last year, which does have a lot of involvement from the school district, as well as nutritionists, people involved in fitness, to try to get some different ideas off the ground. And one idea that came previous to the committee was this edible garden concept, where you would have this edible garden at Prairie View is something where it could be a curriculum and based around growing healthy and sustainable food. One of the first things we're looking at, and the council also recently approved a fundraising effort for this year, is a healthy food truck. So the idea that the city of Eden Prairie would be the first, as I know, city to get into the food truck business, and we would fundraise again to outfit a food truck which could go to possibly 100 or so different events in the community where we can provide an access to healthy food for actually our residents or anyone that participates in a lot of our park and rec and event programs. My one thought was that this is a great idea, and we want it to work, and we want access to healthy food. But again, being the native Wisconsinite, I did say, if it doesn't work out, we'll change the truck over and we'll sell cheese curds. So I think we could still, we come out, kind of would hurt the whole health and wellness thing, but I know we would do well financially. Kind of moving toward maybe finishing up with communication and engagement. As a city, we really pride ourselves on communicating with the public, and social media is something that we've been involved with over the years, and I do try to show this slide at every annual update as a number of followers are on our Facebook page, but also even almost 1,000 visitors to that page almost on a daily basis, and trying to put out, and I know many at the school and the chamber do this as well, several different emails. If you're interested in anything from what's the schedule at the community center, to why were there 40 police officers at that building, to what's happening with public works. We try to put out a lot of different information in addition to our blogs. And in 2013, I think we even stepped up a little bit more with our online engagement. We opened up a web page through our website connected to involvement and having kind of an online conversation called City Connect. And we had really good feedback through this online website about that pool that I talked about earlier, about the green neighborhood that I talked about earlier, about some of the city goals. We've been able to get good engagement, as well as problem reporting, issue reporting. If you wish, you could download an app on your phone, See Click Fix, and with any mobile device or even with our city website, if you're anywhere in this community and you see a pothole, you see a street light out. Street light out has kind of been a bigger one lately because of the cold weather. Kurt's got his hand up. So Kurt, you can get online. I think I took a snapshot of the current page, and you can see these were the issues of the last couple days with street light out. But that gets directed immediately to the city employee responsible for following up. And then you can see throughout the process when you submitted something, who followed up and when it was done, and how it was closed. And we're even doing that internally for a lot of our own projects as well. But I know that even though you have a lot of different technology tools, people want to engage in person. And so this year, similar to what we did 2 years ago, we're going to continue our series of town hall meetings. So we're looking at a town hall meeting for the business community and for the international community. There's a picture there of a realtor forum, and that's a effort that we have in relationship to the school. So we're still going to have a lot of meetings face-to-face. We're updating our master bike and pedestrian plan citywide. We want to have open houses on that as well. And actually, before I wrap up with that photo, I do want to say that engagement and being involved in your community does take a number of different forms and efforts. So we know that, for instance, Troy's going to want to get on our website and maybe write on City Connect. And then maybe Mark wants to use his mobile device to report a problem. But then Dean wants to come to a city council meeting or a planning commission meeting to weigh in. And then Kurt just wants me to take care of something without even saying anything, that I should just know right away. But it really is a global effort where we want to be able to be engaged. In the last slide is something that we talk about a lot with internally with our city employees, and it's taken on quite a bit of importance in the last, 14 or 15 months, because we've gotten a lot of snow. And our feeling as a city is that there's a core service that you see, there's police and fire and snow removal, and it's right at your front door, and you pay your taxes, and you want to be able to see a high quality, quick response effort in a cost-effective manner. And if you can't do those types of things really well, your issues like health and wellness and public art and other ideas they're going to suffer. So the idea is you want to take those types of services that are really important and do them very, very well. And I would say over the last 2 years, we've put a lot of time and effort and technology into something what seems as simple as snow removal, but it's not that simple when every single storm is different. And we've put a lot of different technology in place to focus our response to improve that to a point where our public works director could say that we're getting actually 3 compliments on snow to every concern. It's one of those things that we know you usually might not hear from somebody unless they're concerned. So the idea for us is to have a focus on the customer to provide a good service at a reasonable price. And that's something that we want to focus on, and that's really important to us. And with that, we are finished with extra time, it looks like, Pat. So thank you.
Thanks, Rick, and thanks, Kurt, for great presentations. We do have some prize drawings to do to add our fund to our chamber programs. But before I do that, I just want to make one final pitch. We have a great community. If you are not involved either in maybe volunteering with the schools, the city has commissions that area residents can serve on, take a look at ways that you can be involved and help improve Eden Prairie even more. With that, I'm going to do some prize drawings. And you must be present to win. So we have 2 gift certificates for pizza. So hopefully whoever wins these are pizza people. And you can come up here and I'll get these to you in just a minute. Kurt, there'll be an easy one. And secondly, Aaron Kolkman. Is Aaron still here? I'm looking around. All right, we got Aaron. And then, of course, with the wonderful cold weather, and I saw a great sign that said, whoever's praying for cold weather and snow can stop anytime now. We have 2 car care packages, so again, must be present to win. Matt Tim? All right, so Matt, so I'll get that to you in a minute. And finally, two connected. All right, David Helmuth. All right, so David's here too. So winners, meet me up here. I'll get you your items. With that, a quick reminder to check out the websites of our 3 organizations, find out more about what's going on. Chamber-wise, our programs are there. You can register for all of those. We hope that you enjoyed today's program. Stick around if you'd like, ask some questions, or meet some new individuals. With that, we are adjourned. Stay warm and drive safe. Thank you.